The moment Karen's shrill voice ricocheted down the street, I knew something was about to erupt. She wasn't just irritated, she was absolutely seething. And why? Because sitting proudly in my driveway, gleaming under the sun like a prize trophy, was my brand new yacht. Not a little fishing boat. Not a casual dinghy. A full 40-foot yacht. Polished, majestic, impossible to overlook. And apparently, to Karen, it was the single most offensive sight she had ever witnessed. From the way she reacted, you'd think I had parked an alien spacecraft in front of my house. Karen came bursting out of her front door in her bright pink robe, hair twisted up in messy curlers, and slippers smacking loudly against the pavement. She marched across the street with all the drama of an angry parade float, jabbing her finger at the yacht like it was some kind of neighborhood curse. "What is that doing here?" she screeched, her voice sharp enough to send a passing dog into a frenzy of barking. I nearly choked trying not to laugh. The truth? I had been waiting for this moment. I knew Karen's type, the self-appointed queen of the block, holier than thou, convinced the entire neighborhood functioned under her command. She was always criticizing someone about something. Lawn height, cars parked too close to the curb, even holiday lights that weren't aesthetically pleasing. And now, she had locked onto me like a heat-seeking missile. "Karen," I said calmly, "it's my yacht. Where else am I supposed to park it?" Her jaw dropped as I confessed to a crime. She started pacing back and forth in front of my driveway, uttering under her breath, shaking her head dramatically like she was preparing for a full-blown soap opera breakdown. "This is a residential area," she snapped at last. "You can't park that here. It ruins the neighborhood aesthetic." I leaned against the railing, savoring every second. "Last I checked, Karen, there's no rule against parking a vehicle in your own driveway. Unless you suddenly bought my property, I think we're fine." Her face turned bright red, the kind of red that makes you wonder if steam is about to shoot out of someone's ears. She spun around and stormed back into her house, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. I genuinely thought that would be the end of it. A tantrum, some dramatic muttering, and then silence. But I underestimated her. Karen wasn't going to let this go. To her, the yacht wasn't just an eyesore, it was a personal insult. And I had no idea that by parking it in my driveway, I had just triggered a neighborhood war that would push her into schemes so absurd, so destructive, that they would eventually leave her broke, embarrassed, and completely exposed. Trust me, you're going to want to hear how this unfolded. The next morning, I stepped outside with my coffee, ready to enjoy the quiet hum of the neighborhood. But quiet? That word wasn't in Karen's vocabulary anymore. Plastered all over my driveway, taped to the yacht, and even stuffed into my mailbox were neon flyers. Bright, obnoxious flyers screaming in bold letters, "Say no to eyesores. Protect our neighborhood," and stamped across the bottom in massive capital letters was her signature. Karen Hoa President. That was when I realized she wasn't just irritated, she had officially declared war. She had turned this into some kind of righteous crusade. By noon, she was going door to door, gripping a clipboard like it was a weapon. I watched her stomp from house to house, waving her arms like she was warning residents about an approaching natural disaster. Some neighbors nodded politely, clearly just eager to escape. A few looked slightly curious. Most shrugged. Because, sure, a yacht in a driveway is unusual, but hardly a reason to panic. Later that afternoon, she came knocking on my door. No pounding on it. I opened it slowly, and there she stood, sweaty and flushed, clutching her clipboard so tightly her knuckles looked ghost white. "You're violating Hoa rules," she barked. I raised a brow. "That's funny. I read the Hoa rulebook cover to cover. Not a single word about yachts and driveways." Her nostrils flared. "It's implied. Large vehicles. Oversized. It's all covered. Implied isn't written." I shot back, smiling, her face contorted, and for a moment, I genuinely thought she might pass out from pure fury. Instead, she spun around again, ranting about calling the county, the police, the mayor, and probably the president, if she could get him on the phone. What Karen didn't realize was that every tantrum, every public meltdown, every desperate attempt to get rid of my yacht only made her look more unhinged. And while she spent her days spiraling and was documenting everything, I saved every flyer, recorded every outburst on my doorbell camera, and even saved the text she accidentally sent me while ranting about my disgusting boat. And that's when things escalated fast. A week later, I came home to discover a bright orange sticker slapped across the yacht, an official violation notice. Karen had actually gone so far as to file a county complaint, claiming the yacht was a safety hazard. The funniest part: when the inspector arrived, he glanced at the yacht, skimmed through his clipboard, and immediately shook his head. "There's nothing illegal here," he said, peeling the notice off himself. "Someone's wasting our time." I didn't need him to clarify who that someone was. And that was the moment I realized, if Karen wanted a war, she was about to get one. Karen's obsession spiraled into a level of insanity I didn't think was possible. Every morning, without fail, she hovered by her window, peeking through the blinds like a caffeinated watchdog. If I so much as rinsed the yacht with a hose, she'd bolt outside in seconds, snapping pictures like she was trying to break a celebrity scandal. Then came the petitions. She shoved them under doorways, ambushed joggers mid-run, and even tried convincing kids on bicycles that the big ugly boat was ruining their future property value. The neighborhood group chat exploded with her rants, paragraph after paragraph of dramatic monologues about how my yacht was destroying the community's reputation. People stopped replying entirely. Some even left the chat just to escape her endless complaints. But Karen did not care. She doubled down. One evening, when I returned home from work, something immediately caught my eye. Eggs. Sticky splatters of raw egg are dripping down the yacht's polished sides. And there was Karen, standing across the street with her arms folded, pretending to casually chat with another neighbor, though her smug grin gave her away instantly. What she didn't know was that I had already installed high-quality security cameras. They caught everything. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. I wanted her to dig her own hole deeper, and she did spectacularly. Over the next few weeks, she tried everything. She called tow trucks and demanded they remove my yacht. They refused. She sent anonymous letters threatening legal action, everyone traced back to her. She even spray-painted "No boats" on the sidewalk in front of my home. At this point, she wasn't just annoying. She was committing vandalism and harassment, and I had all the footage to prove it. Finally, I decided it was time to strike back. Quietly, carefully, I collected everything, every flyer, every false violation notice, every threatening message, every video clip of vandalism. I organized it into one neat, devastating folder. Then I sent it straight to the HOA board, the county office, and just for good measure the local police department. It didn't take long for everything to crash down on her. The HOA board called an emergency meeting. Neighbors who had tolerated her nonsense for years finally got the chance to unload. Turns out, I wasn't her only target. From grass-length fines to Halloween decoration complaints, Karen had made life miserable for practically everyone. My evidence was just the spark. The neighborhood brought the fire. When the vote came, it was unanimous. Karen was removed as HOA president, fined for harassment, and warned that criminal charges for vandalism were on the table. And even then, she didn't stop. Losing her title didn't humble her. It drove her deeper into delusion. And that's when she made the mistake that cost her everything. After being kicked out of the HOA, you'd think she'd finally calm down. But no, she completely snapped. Her ego couldn't handle the embarrassment, and she became determined to win no matter what it took. So she decided to sue me. Yes, she actually hired a lawyer and filed an official lawsuit claiming my yacht caused her emotional distress and irreversible damage to property values. It was ridiculous. My attorney and I walked into the courtroom armed with everything: footage of her vandalism, copies of her fake violation notices, harassing texts, and statements from neighbors she had terrorized. The judge didn't even bother to entertain the argument. After a few minutes, he slammed the gavel down. Case dismissed. Not only dismissed, Arn was also ordered to pay my legal fees. That was the beginning of the end for her. Word spread fast through the neighborhood. People who once politely tolerated her started openly avoiding her. Invitations to block parties, barbecues, and holiday gatherings vanished. Her reputation as the neighborhood boss dissolved into the neighborhood nightmare. She was isolated, and every ounce of it was her own doing. But the final blow came when the bills started stacking up. Between HOA fines, legal penalties, and the repair costs she was ordered to pay for the yacht, Karen was drowning in debt. She tried to fight it. She tried to scheme her way out. But debt collectors don't negotiate with tantrums, they want money. One evening, as I parked in my driveway and polished the yacht, just to spite her a little, I noticed a moving truck parked across the street. Boxes, furniture, and even her ridiculous pink flamingo lawn ornament were being hauled out. Karen stood on her porch screaming into her phone, but there was nothing she could do. Within weeks, the house was foreclosed. Karen, once the self-proclaimed queen of the block, was gone, bankrupt, bitter, and leaving behind nothing but bad memories and unpaid bills. The neighborhood felt different, lighter. People smiled more. Kids played outside again. The group chat was finally filled with jokes instead of angry paragraphs. And with the HOA under new leadership, people were focusing on real community issues instead of obsessing over grass length and mailbox colors. And my yacht? Still sitting proudly in my driveway, sparkling under the sunlight. Not a single person complained anymore. In fact, neighbors would stop by to admire it, chat about it, even ask if I'd take them for a ride. In the end, Karen's war against my yacht didn't just fail, it destroyed her completely. She tried to sink me, but she was the one who went under. And honestly, watching her downfall was the sweetest victory imaginable. And that's how it all went down. Karen tried to take me out, but she's the one who lost everything while my yacht is still standing tall. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more wild HOA and Karen stories, and let me know in the comments what would you have done in my place. I'll be reading every reply.